So the first question is, what is Web3? In order to answer that, you should understand the basic keywords and how do they differ from each other. So there are three main keywords: blockchain, Web3, and crypto. Blockchain is the underlying technology behind this industry. Web3 is the industry of people trying to solve problems using blockchain, trying to build stuff using blockchain. And crypto is just like a more of a casual reference to the entire industry and the technology. Blockchain is the underlying technology. It's like a chain of blocks where each block contains some data and each block references to the previous block in the chain. And thus forms a chain that is immutable, very hard to tamper with. So once the data goes into the blockchain, it's very hard to change that, almost impossible. So you can think of a blockchain something like this. There's a genesis block from which blockchain starts. There's a data. There's data in this block, and this entire block data is hashed, and that's how you get the hash of this block. And that hash is a part of the next block. So in block 2, along with the new data, you also have the hash of previous block, and then you generate a hash of block 2 and you put that in block 3. So the chain goes on, and if you want to change any kind of historical data in, let's say, earlier blocks of the chain, the entire chain from that block onwards needs to be modified. So that's how it works, and that's how blockchain gets its properties. You can think of blockchain as something like TCP/IP, where TCP/IP are protocols for transferring data between computers. Blockchains are more like protocols for asset transfer. They enable a distributed ledger where you can hold assets and transfer them to people, and you can also do a lot more things with them. So you can think of them as protocols that help you work with assets. Protocol here means that a standardized way of doing something. So when you talk about TCP/IP, there's a methodology or procedure or a defined standard by the way of which different computers interact with each other. Blockchains are similar, that there are hard coded principles along which different kind of computers come together and maintain a distributed ledger. Asset can be anything. It can be money, or it could be data, it could be content. Anything that has value can be asset, and it can be put on blockchain in different kind of ways. Web3 is the industry of people building stuff using blockchains. It's also called as the third phase of internet. So people are building different kind of stuff like decentralized financial applications, social networks, and there are decentralized autonomous organizations. And some people are also experimenting with deepen networks, which are like decentralized hardware networks. So a lot of stuff has been happening. It's the third phase of the internet. There have been like three phases of the internet. Web 1 was in the early uh, 2000s and late 1990s, where the web was mostly readable. You would go on websites to read stuff, and then came along the user generated content platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Vine, YouTube, etc., where people could create and publish their own content. So that was the Web 2 phase, where you can uh, read content on the web. You can also generate and put your content on the web. So you could write on the web. And Web 3 is the third phase of the internet, where you can actually own the content or things on the internet. So the concept of asset ownership and asset management gets fundamentally baked into the internet protocols. So Web3 is about read, write, and own. You can This is the picture that depicts that, like, if you think about early phases of the internet, there used to be these kind of websites where you would go and read up on the information. Then came along Twitter, Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., where people started putting their own content. So it became an interactive version of web. You could not only read from the web, you could also write on the web, that is the internet network. And in the third iteration, you can own stuff on the internet. There would be a content piece that you can own. The content piece is registered or put into the blockchain, and your blockchain address owns that piece of content. It's also like there's an element of trustless systems, because these are decentralized networks that operate in a certain way. That way is hard coded in software. So you have an entire decentralized network that is following a piece of software, and you don't need to trust any single entity, any centralized entity that is maintaining that network. So there's this element of read write own, and there's also this element of having trustless networks with blockchains. Crypto is the last term, and crypto is basically short for cryptocurrencies or cryptography. Cryptography, because blockchains are built on various cryptographic primitives like digital signatures, public private key cryptography, and hash functions. So crypto is generally used to refer to this industry in a very casual way, and it can mean either of those two things. But from my experience, I have generally found that crypto has sort of a negative vibe to it. Like you can talk about Web3 and blockchain, and the discussion goes with a different direction. And if you talk about crypto, uh, it has like a very tainted image to it, and the discussion goes into a completely different direction. It's all about, curiosity versus having a sense of loss or having a sense of scam. So that has been my general experience. If you take all of these three terms into perspective, you can divide the entire industry in two categories. Like there's technology and there's also a casino aspect to it. So technology is more about building the infrastructure, building the softwares, building the underlying technology. It has more substance to it. So Web3, blockchain, dApps, all of them are the part of that technology side of things. There's also casino side of things, because blockchains are fundamentally an infrastructure for assets. By default, the dynamics of capitalism and, or all kind of markets come into play, and there's a lot of speculation and trading with these assets. So it creates a sort of casino vibe for the industry, and you'll see that with every bull and bear cycle. So it comes more in the hype territory. So yeah, you can divide the entire industry in two segments: technology, which is more of the substance kind of thing, and casino, which is more of the hype kind of thing. And that was all about what is Web3. I'll see you guys in the next video. General disclaimer: avoid scammers in the comment section. You can drop your questions. You can suggest any topic in the comment section, and share the video if you find it helpful.